In this video, I'm going to talk about whether you should cool down when you're done with your cardio or if you should sprint in and really burn through it. Should you go ahead and cool down at the end of a run, or should you like sprint in, really burn in, and just like finish hard? And my thing is, it really has a lot to do with what you're training for, because that really affects your mindset, in my opinion. If you're doing this for like health purposes and you just want to get in a little bit of a run, or you want to get in a little bit of something, yeah, it's fine to cool down. It makes it maybe a little bit more pleasant if you cool down. You know, you run and then it's like, okay, relax, a little jog, a little walk, you know, and then you feel good for about yourself when you're done. That's not a bad thing, okay? You know, normal people probably shouldn't punish themselves too much and hate their training. But the fact of the matter is, if you're training for a sport or for a particular purpose, especially if it has anything to do with competition, combat, anything like that, I think that it's really negative to train your mind to slow down at the end, when in the real world it really means the most, okay? What I mean is, when for instance, I've been doing my jump rope intervals, okay? I do 5 sets of 2 minutes, and then I do 10 sets of 1 minute with 15-second rest. When I do them, I do the first 10 seconds and the last 10 seconds of the minute intervals I sprint. Okay, I do as hard as I can, as fast as I can with the jump rope for 10 seconds, and I slow it down a little bit. And then the last 10 seconds, I really burn it. What I'm saying is, in terms of sports, competition, or whatever, or anything practical that has to do with combat especially, it's really important that you train yourself to push harder and fight harder the more tired and the more pain you feel. Like, how many times do you see a guy, you know, I watch a lot of UFC fights, how many times do you see a guy going into like the 3rd of 3 or the 5th of 5 rounds, and his corner's like, listen, you know, we don't know if you made it, or, you know, you may be behind on points, or like, you are behind on points, your only chance is to knock this guy out. And the guy goes in for a last round and he just kind of pussyfoots around and whatever, and he's like playing around like, you know, it's like I remember, don't laugh, but I remember this one scene from Rocky, you know, where, you know, Apollo Creed's old trainer, you know, who became Rocky's trainer, that black dude with the, you know, with a shaved head. He's like, listen, this is your whole life here. Nothing else matters. This is it. This is your whole life here. This one round, this last 3 minutes, this is your whole life. And that's like basically what I train myself to do every time I do an interval. Like, I burn in, you know, like the hardest that I do is at the very end. I mean, I push obviously the whole time, I don't, you know, slack off, but when I do my last couple of intervals of jump rope, burpees, plyos, whatever, even if, you know, for a while I took a break and I decided I'm going to, you know, do, you know, like just relax on the treadmill for a while, and that was going to be my cardio, treadmill and Stairmaster, or a step mill, even then I couldn't, you know, relax. I couldn't, you know, just jog for 20 minutes. After that, it was like the last like 10 minutes, it was like increasing. It was either increasing the incline or increasing the speed. So at the end, I'm like barely making it. I'm like counting down the seconds, like roar, as hard as I can, as hard as I can, as hard as I can, as hard as I can. I was finishing hard. So like I said, if I'm in this situation right now where like, and I did work for years as a bouncer, if I get hit, if I'm sucking, you know, if there's a huge fight and I'm already dragging people around and I'm tired, you know, and then there's another person in front of me, like, I attack, okay? Because I train myself not to slow down when I get tired. I train myself to fight when I get tired, like fight harder when I get tired. You know, I mean, think about it. If you're like a cop, you know, and you're like chasing a guy, and all of a sudden you see him in front of you, and there's just one last sprint just to catch this guy. You know, do you really want to be like, you know, hey, I'm sorry that your grandma was raped. I could have captured the guy yesterday, but I had already, you know, I chased him like 3 blocks, and I was kind of tired, so I just said, screw it, I'm going to slow down. You know, it's like, there is no fucking around here. You know, if you're a professional combat athlete, MMA, boxing, whatever, you know, if you are a professional combatant, whether you're a soldier, a cop, a SWAT guy, whatever, you know, you need to understand there is no slowing down. There is no backing down. There is no like, yeah, I eased into it and I'm going to go ahead and relax and jog a little bit. No, fuck that. That doesn't exist. You know, the last round you fight should be the hardest round you fight. Okay? There is no slowing down because you're tired. You know, chasing a person down, like, you need to be able to chase a person down. If you're a cop or a soldier or a bouncer or whatever, you need to be able to chase this guy down, catch him, and then still kick his ass. Like, catch him, sprint up to catch him, and then you have to sprint, use this anaerobic energy to kick his ass, you know, to slam him onto the ground, you know, tie him up and then throw handcuffs on him or whatever you're going to do. You need, you know, there is no relaxing at all. And my opinion, okay, my personal opinion is, you know, it's very important to train your body, but it's really important to train your mind too. And like I said, you know, slowing down and relaxing, you know, if you're in a situation where you may be behind on points, you know, and or you don't know where you're at with points, or you know, you have to knock somebody out. If you have the ability mentally, physically too, yeah, of course training is important, but mentally, no matter how tired you are, no matter how hurt you are, the further the fight goes on, the more rounds there are, the harder you fight. Like, this guy's slowing down and you're speeding up. If he has the attitude like, oh, I'm going to cool down and just relax this last round, and your attitude is like the fight is just going to start, like you're going to give gas, you're going to, you know, fucking put your, you know, foot to the floor, accelerator to the floor, and just fight harder than you did in the first round, in this last round, then obviously you have a massive advantage. And like I said, it's physical. Yes, if you train yourself to do an anaerobic sprint at the end of every interval, or the, you know, to push harder at the last interval of every workout, yeah, obviously you have a physical edge, but more importantly, you have the mental edge. No matter how tired or hurt you are going to finish this last round harder than any of the other rounds you fought. And like I said, the other guy's probably not going to have this advantage. He's probably going to have the attitude like, screw this, I've already been fighting for 20 minutes. These last 5 minutes are going to suck. And you're like, these last 5 minutes are mine because this is what you train yourself for.